Hey, today we're going to walk through the weekly team meeting, how to make sure you get set up. You can run one alongside me as a test, and we'll show you how to cancel it, and really making sure that everyone jumps in prepared and that you're equipped to facilitate that meeting. So first, let's start with the agenda, then get to scheduling, and then we'll run an example version of it in your account. First, you'll navigate to the meeting section in 90, and then you can come over, there's upcoming, there's past meetings, and then there's agendas. The really critical element of your agenda is making sure it's consistent week to week. For our leadership teams running the level 10 meeting, it often looks like this, where we have an hour and a half set up together. This is our standard agenda, 5 minutes in each section, 60 minutes in our issues where we IDS together. But you do have the ability to edit the timeframes here. So if I did want to change any of the duration of these sections, if I needed to hide anything, I could. Or if I wanted to add new, so add a different tool, I can add a custom section where I can actually pull in an iframe friendly link here. And the benefit of this is really once we start going beyond the leadership team, if there's departments where I'm marketing and I need to look at a content calendar to help unpack what issues we might have during the week. Now I'm just adding more tools in here so that I can view those during the meeting and make sure that we identify the most urgent and important issues for our team to solve. So for today, we'll stick with our standard agenda. If I did update the time frame or anything, all I'll need to do is click Save Changes when I am done editing my agenda. And when I come to upcoming, in order to schedule my meeting, I have a schedule button right here. And we do want these to be consistent. Same day, same time, every single week. That consistency is going to be what creates momentum for your team. We have a saying, you need to win the week, to win the quarter, to win the year. And so this is how you're actually going to measure and track against those goals that you've set at the quarterly and that you've set at the annual to make sure you're making consistent progress. So when we schedule our meeting, we'll select the agenda of the level 10 meeting in this example, choose your day and time. So if we're running on Mondays at 9 a.m., I would go ahead and put that in here. And then I would say it repeats weekly on Mondays. Your facilitator is usually going to be the person who is guiding the meeting, and your scribe is going to be the one that's pulling up and showing 90. So once you have those things done and saved, the next thing that would pop up is, hey, do you want to add this meeting to your calendar? So you can select any of these options that you'd like to use from here. When you are ready to start the meeting, let's say it's Monday, it would populate here so I could start it. In this case, I'll go ahead and open it up. And usually one person is going to open and start the meeting. Everybody else in that team would then get a notification in 90 that that meeting has started, and they can join it as well. As other people join the meeting, I will see that up here in the top right section over here on the left-hand side. I do have a timer at the top. I have my agenda items on the left-hand side I can click through. And so let's talk through each one of these. The segue is our intro. We're going to go around and share a personal and a professional best from each person. The reason we do this is to really kick off the meeting quick and intentional, a way to have everyone talking. A lot of studies have shown if you share earlier in the meeting, you're more likely to talk later. And the purpose of our level 10 meeting is to make sure it's a very open and collaborative environment. As we move on to Scorecard, this should be pre-filled before the meeting. So we have our measurables on here and the scores have been entered by the people who own those measurables. That way, when we come through this section, we've got 5 minutes here, and the purpose is to check in. How are we doing on a weekly basis with these things we've committed to, looking at every single week? We can click View Trend button if we would like to have a visual of that information over time. And then really, as we're going through, if we see anything that's been off track for multiple weeks in a row, we can right click on this. We can create an issue. It's going to pull in the goal. It's going to pull in the scores from the last 3 weeks. I can make any edits to this that I need to. And then when I create it, it will go to the issues list so we could talk about it then. So oftentimes I'll scroll through this. I'll make sure issues are created. If there's quick to-dos, we can do that as well. And then we'll move on to the next section. Our rock review here is mainly meant to check in on those quarterly priorities that we set. So when we go through, we usually go by person and we say, hey, Abby, you've got 3 rocks. And she'll report back, yep, I'm on track with 2, I'm off track with 1. Or we can update the status here live during the meeting. We can also turn these into issues. So if this one is off track and Abby indicates, yes, I would like to help discuss any blockers here, we can consistently turn these things into issues throughout the meeting. Our headline section is meant to inform and update people on the things that are going on in the business. So we're keeping it brief. We're intentional about these updates. They can be internal or external. Great way to bring awareness. It's not an issue, it's just an announcement. So anything that doesn't need further discussion can be added to the headlines as opposed to an issue. When we get to our to-dos, these will be those action items that we have coming up throughout the course of the next few weeks. If anything is past due, I will have a visual indicator to that. So usually when I come to this page, I'll click the do by button to get those sorted quickly to the top. And then I'm really only paying attention to anything that's past due, not really having any sort of discussion about things that are upcoming. But if somebody does need to call anything out, we can turn these items into issues as well. Now when we get to IDS, this is where we can go through our list and start solving things. And we've got 30 to 60 minutes here, depending on how you've set up your agenda. And so usually the first thing that we do is we ask, are there any new issues to add to the list? So if somebody sees something they forgot to add, we can go ahead and add that item to our list right away. The other thing you can do is you have a few different options for how to prioritize these. We do have a voting functionality. You can use the priority sort here. And so if you do have these labeled 5 through 1, 5, we absolutely have to solve it today, or I'm going to have to set up another meeting, or 1, hey, it's okay if it waits another week or 2 weeks. That way you can sort it and bring your 5s right to the top and then start going through. I usually tell people to take notes in the notes section. Everything is searchable in the product. And then when you go to actually solve this, you can create a to-do. It pulls in all of those notes that you typed out during the meeting so that person, whoever takes this to-do, has the full context. And when we do have this action, we know how Selena is going to get it back on track. She has the to-do to go do it. We check it off and move on to the next one. If it's not a simple solve as, hey, a person just takes it to move on to the next meeting, the other thing you could do is say, hey, we need to make a long-term issue. So if it's something where it's a great idea, but we need to push it off and talk about it at the quarterly, that's another way to compartmentalize our ideas. Or we can open it up and we also have the option to send it to another team. So if we have multiple teams in our account, we could push and share that issue to another team, and then they would see it on their list and be able to send it back to us. When we are done going through our issues list, so hopefully we get a few more checked off here, and then you do have the remaining ones listed, we can go to conclude, and you can see I'm leaving all of these things checked off, or if we had to-dos that were completed, we don't have to archive them page by page. When we get to conclude, we'll recap all of the to-dos, we can see any new ones that were created during this meeting, and then we'll go through and rate the meeting. Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being this was an effective and efficient use of our time. And then you can start deducting points for we got off track, or there was a rabbit hole somebody went down, or we didn't start on time. You can give, everybody gives it a rating. You can go through and enter those here. And then at the end, you can choose to archive all of those items that you worked through, the headlines you talked about, the to-dos that were checked off, the issues on the list, and then you can send a recap email as well. So everybody on this list would then get the notification of here's the issues solved, here's the to-dos we created, and we also do have the ability to see that same information that would be sent out in the recap email in our past meetings list where we have access to all of that information. If you do want to run that meeting, like I just did without doing that, you can start these meetings anytime to play around, work on it, see what the flow looks like, practice. All you have to do is come up here and click suspend. That'll jump you out of the meeting and you can easily delete it. So go in, try out the meeting functionality, schedule your meetings, test out updating the agenda, and let us know if you have any questions. Thanks.